Good evening, my YouTube family. Good evening. You know what time it is. Today is Tuesday, February the 16th. And you know what time it is. It is time to be keeping up with Congress. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. Please like, please share. Please subscribe. Please hit that notification button. You know what this is. We are holding our elected officials accountable. We're looking for opportunities in legislation. Where is the money? Who is it going to? And how do we get some of it? Please like, please subscribe, please share, please hit that notification button, y'all. It is time for us to be keeping up with Congress, y'all. If you haven't gone to the website, please do. As usual, this is brought to you by Withhold the Vote, where we hold our elected officials accountable. We are harnessing our political power. No more do we go to the polls and just give this vote away for free. Those days are over. So let's dive into this. Let's get this party started. You know, I'm always looking for reparations information. Got to keep up the speed, y'all. What's going on, what they're talking about. So my TAO panel on reparations fields an unexpected question. So this was interesting. On Tuesday, Dr. William Darity, y'all, he and I will be on at 8 o'clock tonight. So get your popcorn, get ready. Dr. William Darity and A. Kristen Mullen visited McAllister via Zoom for the first event in a two-part series that will make up the 40th annual Theodore Matau Lecture. And in this lecture, she was talking about, this is, I believe, Kristen, she was saying more than half of all Americans, including 40% of all white Americans, indicated support for a commission to develop reparations. This is Kristen Mullen. Reparations for Jewish people post-Holocaust was achieved with less popular support. Darity enumerated three crucial aspects of a reparations program: an eligibility requirement, a standard for how much money should be distributed, and the inclusion of direct payments. Darity and Mullen's proposal centers on using the Black and white wealth gap as the standard for how much money should be distributed. He goes on to say, we focus on the wealth differential because it, in our estimation, best captures the intergenerational, y'all, I'm tongue-tied tonight, intergenerational effects of white supremacy, Darity said, and it captures those effects on living descendants of folks who were enslaved. Darity and Mullen proposed that the United States government distribute 10 to 12 trillion to descendants of enslaved people over the course of up to 10 years. Cut the check. Cut the check, cut the check. Here's another one. A study, reparations for slavery could have reduced COVID-19 infections and deaths in the US. We know it, they know it too. But here it goes. A study led by Harvard Medical School researchers suggests reparations could also have surprising public health benefits for Black individuals and the entire nation. We know it, right? Their analysis, published online on February the 9th in the Social Science and Medicine, suggests that if reparations had been made before the COVID-19 pandemic, transmission of SARS-CoV-2 in the state's overall population could have been reduced by anywhere from 31 to 68%. Yeah, we know it. Inadequate health care, we know it. The disproportionate effects of COVID-19 on racial minorities, Black individuals in particular, have been well documented. Black people get COVID-19 at a rate nearly 1.5 times higher than that of white people, are hospitalized at a rate nearly 4 times higher, and are 3 times as likely to die from the disease, according to the latest estimates from the U.S. Center for Disease Control. They know it. We know it too, y'all. Reparations, COVID. You know, the data says by 2053, Black America will have zero net wealth. But I am positive, and most of us are who follow this, that, COVID has sped that up tremendously. He was another one. This one I thought was so interesting because this is Dr. King's son, Martin Luther King III. He says he's on a truth panel that could help Mexico with slavery legacy. I'm thinking to myself, we need you in the U.S. talking about reparations and the slavery legacy. So a Truth and Reconciliation Commission could help Mexico come to terms with the legacy of African slavery, civil rights activist Martin Luther King III said during a visit to the Latin American country. I didn't even want to read no more of that. I had no desire to go any further. Just the fact that he's talking about it and he's not here talking about it, I think it troubles me, y'all. It troubles me. So let's move on past him. Don't forget, mark your calendar, set an alert, congress.gov, y'all, on Wednesday, tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, HR 40. There is the committee hearing is tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. Set your clock, set your calendars, whatever you need to do. Make sure you're there. They have listed the witnesses. I don't know who any of these people are. Herschel Walker, Honorable Norman Y. Mineta, the Honorable Shirley N. Weber, Tenadia Akumu, African name. I don't know who that is. Herschel Walker, we know, former professional athlete. Mr. Cam Howard. I might know who he is. He might be one of my Facebook friends. Lawrence Elder, Dresden Heath, and Hillary O. Shelton. I was hopeful to see Dr. Darity's name there, but there it is. The list of witnesses. Let's see where this goes tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Mark your calendars, y'all. We don't want to miss a beat. All right, this was something I thought was interesting. This company is offering reparations through real estate to combat the racial wealth gap. I'm like, okay, what company is this? I got excited when I saw it, y'all. And I scrolled and read a little bit. The lady's name is Lisa Wise, who owns this company. And it says her latest project may be her most ambitious. It's talking about something else she's done. As she takes on the racial wealth gap by paying reparations to Black Americans through grants for first-time home buyers. Sounded really good, right? And then I go on to read, goes on to say the murder of George Floyd compelled Flock to study our privilege as a company. That's the name of her company. Presumably our hard work and creativity anchored our success, but did it really? In part, yes, but there's a harder truth to reconcile. And to be candid, that reconciliation will be out of reach until we as a society write a future that begins to undo the wrongs of the past when it comes to Black and brown Americans. Here it comes, y'all. So she goes on to say, it goes on to talk about her company. Is this month, the company launched a new initiative, Birdseed, and opened applications to first-time home buyers for grants to help cover down payments on homes in the DC metropolitan area. Here it goes, y'all. Black, Indigenous, and other residents of color, here it is, with the household income of less than $150,000 are eligible for anywhere between $5,000 to $15,000 contingent on mortgage approval and a handful of other requirements. It took the wind out of my sail, but okay. Like I said, here it is where it says Black, Indigenous, and other residents of color. It became all encompassing, but you want to cloak it in reparations as if it's something specific to us who are descendants of slaves in this country, and it's not. It's not. It's not what I thought it was, but whatever it is, it's an opportunity. So if you know anybody in the DC area, go get some of it. Like I said, I use this broadcast. We're looking for opportunities, y'all. We'll take it. We'll take it. So if you know anybody in the DC area that's trying to buy a home, let them know. Let them know. It's called the Flock Company. Let's see the name of it. Yeah. We'll take it. CEO of Flock DC. up with these initiatives, y'all. Hey, good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Yeah, you talking about ML King the third? Yeah, something is wrong with him. Yeah, I'm like, dude, we need help here. You in Latin America, and not to say that but still, I figured he would try to continue his father's legacy right here in these United States. Not so. All right, let's dive into these bills. HR 591 is to prohibit federal funding to the Eco Health Alliance Incorporated and for other purposes. Okay, why do you want to prohibit federal funding? Representative Reschenthaler out of Pennsylvania. Let's see, I had to look it up. What is the Eco Health Alliance? So this is some organization who stands between you and the next pandemic. I guess he want to make sure money's not being funneled off to these organizations all over the place. So this Eco Health Alliance, he wants to prohibit the funding of them. I guess we have who? The World Health Organization. Why do you need another one? Representative Reschenthaler out of Pennsylvania. HR 591, y'all. HR 592 is to amend Title 28 United States Code to expand the definition of other institutions for purposes of acquisition, preservation, and exchange of identification records and information. Other institutions. I tell you, there's a lot of vague words. Remember I said that these words, they're just vague. You don't know what they're talking about. So I get it. Other institutions. Representative Rose, Tennessee, out of Tennessee, y'all. HR 592. HR 593 is to establish the Coronavirus Mental Health and Addiction Assistance Network. Yeah, all of you that I'm telling you, if you know somebody, interested in having a nonprofit, y'all, these monies are going to be flowing. The Coronavirus Mental Health and Addiction Assistance Network. Representative Ryan, he's a Democrat out of Ohio. HR 593. HR 594 is to advance STEM education, provide for improved worker training, retention, and advancement, and for other purposes. So STEM education, worker training, retention, and advancement. This is Representative Tim Ryan again. He's a Democrat out of Ohio, y'all. HR 594. HR 595 to provide a cause of action for violation of laws related to COVID-19. So why do we need federal legislation to provide a cause of action for violations of laws related to COVID-19? What kind of laws are being broken? Are these laws specific to monies that have been issued? Representative Skokoski, Janice Skokoski, representative out of Illinois, Democrat out of Illinois. Interesting. HR 595. HR 596 to increase the ability of nursing facilities to access telehealth services and to obtain technologies to allow virtual visits during the public health emergency relating to an outbreak of coronavirus disease 2019. So this is to help fund these nursing homes with updated maybe computers or any other technologies for these virtual visits. Monies, funding, follow the money, y'all. So anybody that you know has a senior citizen center, anything, here's money's coming your way. Representative Skokoski again, out of Illinois, Democrat out of Illinois. HR 597 is to require any COVID-19 drug developed in whole or in part with federal support to be affordable and accessible by prohibiting monopolies and price gouging. So when I saw this, the first thing I thought was, it's not going to be free in the future. So they're distributing these COVID-19 vaccinations now, but they're not going to be free in the future. So they're preparing for the monopolies and the price gouging with vaccinations. Interesting. Democrat Skokoski again, out of Illinois, HR 597. HR 598, Quality Care for Nursing Home Residents and Workers during COVID-19 and Beyond Act. Yeah, we know a lot of our nursing homes and our nursing facilities are not the greatest. So she definitely is concerned about seniors and elderly care. HR 598, Representative Skokoski, again, Democrat out of Illinois. HR 599, to amend Title 28 of the Social Security Act to provide for the guaranteed issue of Medigap policies to all Medigap eligible Medicare beneficiaries and Medicare Advantage enrollees. So I didn't know a whole lot about Medigap, so I looked that one up too. So Medigap is Medicare supplement insurance that helps fills the gaps in original Medicare and is sold by private companies. So obviously Medicare is not enough. Medicare is not enough to cover, they say, gaps. And Medicare supplement insurance policy can help pay some of the remaining healthcare costs like co-payments, co-insurance, deductibles, probably certain medicines. Yeah, Medigap. So we're all learning, y'all. HR 599. HR 600, to amend Title 36 United States Code to require presidential inauguration committees to file disbursement reports with the Federal Election Commission to prohibit such committees from dispersing funds for purposes unrelated to the inauguration of the president, to require such committees to donate any committee funds which remain available at the time the committee terminates. Y'all, Donald Trump found a damn loophole. He found a loophole. Because why is this Democrat, Representative Schrader, Democrat out of Oregon, you chasing the presidential inauguration committee and making sure those disbursement, a disbursement report is filed? He found a loophole. There was something happened, and some monies was funneled, and they're trying to fix it. That's a loophole that they're trying to close. It's HR 600, y'all. This is, interesting what he did. He played them at their own game. HR 600. HR 601, to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to provide a reduced capital gains rate on certain property acquired in 2021. So you wanna provide a reduced capital gains rate on certain property acquired in 2021. I knew it. Republican out of Arizona, Representative Schweikert. Yep, that's a tongue twister. Representative out of Arizona. So capital gains, y'all. Capital gains is a profit from the sale of property or an investment. So this particular representative wants to reduce capital gains on certain property acquired in 2021. What are these certain properties? What are these certain properties? HR 601. Follow the money. Follow the money and the gains. HR 602, relaunching America's Workforce Act. So I didn't know what that was. I researched it and I had to look it up and found out that this Representative Bobby Scott out of Virginia, actually introduced this in the last Congress last year. And this bill establishes several grant programs to address employment, the workforce, and education access in response to COVID-19. These grants, y'all, some more money, provide training and employment for dislocated, unemployed, and underemployed workers, support for youth employment, establishes workforce information system improvements, provide re-entry employment opportunities for justice-involved youth and young adults, and create or expand apprenticeship programs. So this is a bill that he introduced last session, and he is bringing it back this session. HR 602, relaunching America's Workforce Act. HR 603, to provide for increases in the federal minimum wage. Increases with an S, not a increase, increases in the federal minimum wage. So I was wondering why increases. So does that mean incremental? Because if it was a increase, maybe he would have specified what it is. But he says to provide for increases. So maybe it's incremental increases in the federal minimum wage. Just trying to figure it out, y'all. We have to get behind the scenes and ask these kind of questions and follow the money. Representative Bobby Scott out of Virginia, HR 603. HR 604, Reopen and Rebuild America's School Act of 2021. I thought this one was interesting. Reopen and rebuild. So what are we doing? Are we retrofitting these schools now in this COVID season? What does rebuild, reopen, what are we doing differently? I get the reopen, but rebuild. What are we doing differently in this COVID season? Are we making our classrooms larger? Are we getting ventilation systems? Interesting. Representative Scott may not be, looks like it's good legislation, but I just want to understand the particulars, the specifics. HR 604. HR 605 is to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to permit kindergarten through grade 12 educational expenses to be paid from a 529 account. Now, this triggered me. Kindergarten through grade 12 educational expenses to be paid from a 529 account. Now, a 529 account, y'all, the money from a 529 account can be used for major post-secondary education costs, such as required tuition, fees, books, supplies, and equipment, certain room and board expenses. So this is for post-secondary education costs, right? That's what the 529 account is for. So they want to take the money and permit it to be used from kindergarten through grade 12. But why would they do that? Sounds like a tax shelter to me. Sounds like you want to put money in and be able to use it as a tax shelter. These are the questions I would want to ask. Like, what are you doing? So why now? Why do you want to dial it back to kindergarten through grade 12 so you can put money in it? And I don't know. Those are the questions that I would ask y'all if I was in Congress. HR 605 just triggered me. Like, there's something not right with this. HR 606 to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to impose federal taxes on bonds used to provide facilities owned by abortion providers. There they go again. Remember I told you abortions, a lot of legislation with abortions, veterans, immigration, national security, guns, and a lot of streamlining. That's what I've been seeing with these bills. HR 606 is one of them. HR 607 is to establish the Election Integrity Commission to study the integrity and administration of the general election for federal office held in November 2020 and to make recommendations to Congress to improve the security, integrity, and administration of federal elections, y'all. Yeah, Donald Trump again. Is it voter fraud? Is it voter suppression? It just depends on who you ask. The Democrats will tell you it's voter suppression, and that's why they do what they do. The Republicans will tell you it's voter fraud, and that's why they do what they do. Keeping up with Congress, y'all. It's a ping pong game. We're the ball being hit back and forth. HR 607. HR 608 to amend Title 10 of the Public Health Service Act to require grant recipients to comply with all applicable state and local laws requiring notification or reporting of child abuse, child molestation, sexual abuse, rape, incest, intimate partner violence, or human trafficking. So it makes it a requirement for grant recipients to comply. HR 608, Representative Smucker, Republican out of Pennsylvania, HR 608. HR 609 to amend Title 49 United States Code to require Amtrak to convey of certain properties to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Now, I did not understand that. Representative Smucker, again, representative out of Pennsylvania. I had to look this one up. Convey. What do you mean convey? let me understand you. When he says convey of certain properties, that's physical, right? So let's kind of dive in. Convey, transport or carry to a place. That communication, no, but it's a property. So is it, I don't know, what are they, Amtrak is a train, so you want to transport something to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. What is that? What is that? HR 609. I would have a lot of questions. HR 609, y'all. HR 610 is to amend the Federal Water Pollution Control Act to establish a grant program to support the restoration of the San Francisco Bay. Now, I didn't know that there was, something going on with the Bay. I'm from the coast. I know there's, we have erosion, climate change. So they're doing things always on the coast to preserve it. So it basically is the same thing. We protect and we restore the San Francisco Bay for people and wildlife, uniting the Bay to create a clean and healthy Bay. So same thing, protecting the Bay Area. HR 610. HR 611 to direct the Secretary of Transportation to establish a working group to conduct a study on access to certain resources for infrastructure projects. When I see these words like certain resources for infrastructure projects, what are these certain resources? Representative Stanton, Greg Stanton out of Arizona, HR 611. HR 612 is to amend the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act to include certain communities. Remember, this is something we've already seen on the Senate side. This is not new. This Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, we actually went through it. The United States conducted nearly 200 atmospheric nuclear weapons development tests from 1945 to 1962, essential to the nation's nuclear weapons development was uranium mining and processing, which was carried out by tens of thousands of workers, and these people were exposed. Following the conclusion of these activities, lawsuits against the United States alleged failure to warn of exposure to known radiation hazards. So this is something we've seen it already on the House side. So to amend the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act to include certain communities. They guess they're broadening it. Representative Stanton out of Arizona. Actually, wanted to show you the map too. Did I find the map? Maybe I didn't. I'm sorry. I had a map. I was going to show it to you. Oh, there it is. There it is. The covered area for this exposure, y'all, on this map. So this is Arizona. So maybe they're extending it. HR 612. HR 613 to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to repeal the limitation on the deduction for certain taxes, including state and local property and income taxes. To repeal, y'all, the limitation on the deduction for certain taxes, including state and local property income taxes. Now, I don't know if this is good or bad, but when you repeal the limitation, it seems like it's gonna, help some people that it probably shouldn't help. Because I believe maybe that's why we have a limitation on these deductions. Representative Suozzi, Democrat out of New York, 613, y'all. I don't know. This one was a little alarming. Like, we want to repeal the limitation. Let's talk about this, Representative Suozzi. HR 614 to amend the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965 to create a demonstration project to fund additional secondary school counselors in troubled Title I schools to reduce the dropout rate. Representative Sanchez, I'm telling y'all, if you don't have a nonprofit, if you're interested in having a nonprofit, I'm telling you, it just looks like monies are gonna really be flowing in this Biden administration. Get in position. HR 614. HR 615, y'all, to provide a payroll credit for certain fixed expenses of employers subject to closure by reason of COVID-19. They're trying to help these employers that are losing their businesses because of COVID with the payroll credit. This is Representative Thompson, Mike Thompson, Democrat out of California. All right, we are at the end of this, but I want to see, what is this, y'all? Oh, guess what? David Perdue filed, y'all. He filed a intent to run against Raphael Warnock in 2022. This is going to get real interesting. But nevertheless, y'all, Dr. Darity and I will be coming up in the next half hour. Make sure you are tuned in right here, Black History Month, the case for reparations. I will be talking to Dr. Darity. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy, y'all. Thank you for joining me tonight. Please share. Please spread the word. Withhold the vote. Withhold the vote is how we use our power strategically. We do not go to the polls. We will not be going to the polls anymore. We will not be going to the polls anymore and giving this vote away for free. We will not do it. So withhold the vote. We're harnessing our political power. Please go to the website. Please join. Please support this movement. Give us a little something, Cash App. We got some plans coming up. I will be announcing them in the next couple of weeks about what is coming. Y'all saw that article. He seems to think that Raphael will be his challenger in the general. But Raphael Warnock will have a primary in next spring. So we'll talk about that, y'all. Just we're gonna talk about that. But nevertheless, Dr. Darity is up in the next half hour. Make sure you tune in right back here on YouTube on this station, where we're gonna talk to him and we're gonna get the inside scoop from the man himself, Dr. William Darity. So join me. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and share. And I will see you guys in just a few minutes, y'all. Make sure you tune in the next half hour for Dr. William Sandy Darity. Have a good night. See you in a minute.